Do you ever feel like your brain is a web browser with 100 tabs open at once? It's lagging, it's overheating, the cooling fan in your head is spinning like crazy because it's just so overloaded? And you know exactly what's going to happen if you try to open just one more tab. Crash. Let's be honest, that is exactly how you feel right now. You're trying to cram in your to-do list, your meeting schedule, ideas for that new project, and even remembering to pick up milk on the way home. We've been lied to for years. School taught us that smart people have photographic memories, that your brain is supposed to be a library that stores every piece of human knowledge. But I'm here to tell you a harsh but necessary truth. Trying to remember everything doesn't make you smarter. In fact, it is literally making you dumber. When your brain's RAM is clogged up with random bits of information, you have absolutely zero bandwidth left to process, to think critically, or to be creative. You become an overloaded portable hard drive, not a genius processor. So, in this video, I am not going to teach you tricks to improve your memory. That stuff is outdated. Instead, I'm going to give you a blueprint to do the exact opposite. How to strategically forget. How to build an external system to do the remembering for you, freeing up your brain to do what it does best: thinking. Welcome to the era of the second brain.
Before we go any further, we need to redefine what smart actually means in the 21st century. If you were living in 1920, being able to memorize the capital of every country or recite long poems was an incredibly valuable skill. Information was scarce back then, and whoever held the information in their head held the power. But today, Google can answer all those questions in 0.5 seconds. ChatGPT can summarize an entire book for you in a few lines. In this era, your value is no longer based on how much knowledge you can store. Your value is based on how you process and connect that knowledge to create new solutions. The biggest problem is we are using our biological brains for the completely wrong purpose. Think about it like this. Your brain is a magnificent biological machine for recognizing faces, feeling complex emotions, and coming up with crazy creative ideas. But it is terrible at storing precise, long-term data. That's why you can have $1 million idea in the shower, but forget it completely the moment you step out. Computers, or what I call a second brain, on the other hand, are emotionless and have zero creativity. But they have a superpower your brain will never have. They never forget. They store perfectly, and they retrieve instantly. The fatal mistake most of us make is trying to force the artist, your brain, to do the job of the librarian, the computer. You are forcing a high-end processor to act like a storage warehouse. David Allen, the author of the classic book Getting Things Done, summed us up with what I believe is the single most important quote in productivity. Your mind is for having ideas, not holding them. When you free your mind from the task of holding, you unlock the capacity for creating. But what exactly is happening inside your head when you try to fight this natural law? Why does trying to remember a simple grocery list silently kill your ability to solve problems? Let's dive into the psychological mechanism behind it.
To understand why your brain feels like it's about to catch fire, we need to look at 3 psychological mechanisms silently running in the background of your mind right now. They are like malware you didn't even know you installed. The first culprit is called the Zeigarnik Effect. The story starts in a cafe in Vienna in the 1920s. Psychologist Bluma Zeigarnik noticed something strange. The waiters had superhuman memories. They could remember dozens of complex orders for multiple tables without writing anything down. But here's the twist. The moment the customer paid the bill, the waiter forgot everything. Zeigarnik discovered that the human brain has a default feature. It keeps unfinished tasks at the highest priority level. It constantly sends you notifications, creating psychological tension to force you to complete them. We call these open loops. When you tell yourself, I have to remember to email my boss, without writing it down,
You just opened an open loop in your brain. The problem is, you don't just have one loop, you have hundreds. Buy milk, reply to text, fix the sink, brainstorm for the new project. Each of these tasks is a background app draining your battery. Even when you are playing with your kids or trying to sleep, your brain is burning energy just to keep these loops spinning. That is why you always feel exhausted, even when you're doing nothing. This brings us to the second culprit, cognitive load theory. Imagine your working memory is like a cup of water. It is tiny. Previous scientific research suggested humans could hold about 7 streams of information at once, but the latest research shows the real number is just 4. That's right, just 4 things. If that tiny cup is already filled with trivial things like the delivery guy's phone number or your dentist appointment, what happens when you try to pour in a complex problem that needs solving? The water spills over. You experience brain fog. You read the same page of a book over and over without understanding a word. You stare at a blank screen, unable to write a single line. It's not because you aren't smart. It's because your RAM is full of junk. You can't run heavy software like Photoshop on a computer that's out of RAM. And finally, the most dangerous culprit, the one that gives us the illusion of intelligence, the collector's fallacy. You're scrolling through the web, you see a great article on how to invest in stocks. You click Save to Pocket or Watch Later, and immediately your brain releases a hit of dopamine. Why? Because your brain tricks you into thinking that the act of saving knowledge is the same as acquiring knowledge. You feel like you learned something even though you haven't actually read it. We become digital hoarders. We collect thousands of bookmarks, hundreds of PDFs, dozens of watch later videos. We build a massive library but possess an empty mind. The truth is, information only becomes knowledge when it is processed and applied. As long as it sits in your read later folder, it is just another psychological burden, a reminder of what you haven't done. So what is the way out? How do we close the Zeigarnik loops, free up our RAM, and turn collecting into true knowledge? The answer isn't to train your brain harder. The answer is you need an external system to carry this entire weight for you. It's time I introduce you to the external mind blueprint. Imagine your brain is a house. Right now, it's cluttered with junk, loose papers, and unopened boxes. You can barely move around, let alone dance or be creative in there. The external mind blueprint is how we declutter that house. It consists of 3 core stages to shift the load from your biological brain to a trusted digital system. Stage 1. Installing the pressure valve, the capture valve. The goal here is to kill those Zeigarnik loops the moment they appear. The golden rule is simple. Never trust your brain to hold information. If an idea, a task, or a reminder pops up, you must get it out of your head immediately. Don't wait to write it down later. Use anything, Apple Notes, Notion, or even a scrap of paper. I call this the brain dump technique. When you write down the words "buy milk," you are sending a signal to your brain. Hey, this is handled. You can turn off that background notification now, and instantly, a little bit of your RAM is freed up. You will feel an immediate sense of relief. Stage 2. Action architecture. Most people fail at note-taking because they organize like a librarian, by topic. You create folders for psychology, marketing, or health. Big mistake. When you sit down to work, you don't go looking for general psychology knowledge. You are looking for materials to complete a specific goal. So, organize by projects. This is the famous para method. Instead of saving this article into a health folder, save it into a project called Run a Marathon in December. The psychological shift here is massive.
You are no longer saving information just in case. You are saving information for a purpose. Every piece of knowledge now has a job to do. It turns your storage warehouse into a manufacturing plant. Stage 3. The idea factory. This is the difference between a smart person and a digital hoarder. The hoarder saves a 2,000-word article and never looks at it again. The smart person practices distillation. Treat future you like a VIP guest. When you save something, take 30 seconds to highlight the key points and write a one-sentence summary at the top. Why did I save this? What problem does it solve? By doing this, when you come back 6 months later, you don't have to reread everything from scratch. You just grab the core essence and use it immediately. Think of it like Lego bricks. If you keep the whole set sealed in the box, it's a pain to start playing. But if you have the individual bricks separated and sorted, building a new castle becomes incredibly easy and fun. You see, a second brain is not just a note-taking app. It is a shield that protects your peace of mind. It allows you to forget the small details so you can fully focus on the big ideas.
Ultimately, I want you to remember this. Building a second brain isn't about becoming lazy or relying on technology. Its true purpose is to help you be present. When you stop wasting energy worrying if you forgot to email your boss, you can truly listen to the person sitting right in front of you. When you no longer fear that a brilliant idea will vanish, you can actually relax and enjoy the moment. True freedom isn't about knowing everything. Freedom is knowing that you don't need to hold everything in your head to feel safe. So stop forcing your inner artist to do the job of a grinding librarian. Let machines do the work of machines, storing and organizing. And let humans do the work of humans, creating, connecting, and feeling. That is how you actually get smarter in this chaotic world. And now I have a quick question for you, a little reality check. Open your phone right now. What is the last thing you hit save for later on? An article, a video, maybe a recipe that you have never actually looked at again? Confess in the comments below. Don't be ashamed. I promise to read and heart the most honest confessions. If you want more detailed blueprints to unlock your potential, hit that subscribe button for Psych Blueprint right now. I'll see you in the next blueprint. Thanks for watching.